Hello and welcome to February's edition of the Darlo Till I Die podcast. I'm Adam Cattell, back on hosting duties once more. Well, it was a game many saw as a must-win, and the Quakers kept their side of the bargain, securing 3 crucial points with a 1-0 home victory. Callum Griffiths' long-range effort was enough to see off Kings Lynn and keep Darlington firmly in the playoff hunt. Joining me today to help break it all down, first up is Rob Duncan, a lifelong Darlo fan whose involvement with the club spans decades. As the supporters group's longest-serving director, he's played a key role in supporting the club behind the scenes. He's also Darlington's supporter liaison officer, meaning he's at nearly every home and away game, hearing directly from you, the fans. Rob, great to have you on.
Thanks, Adam. Much appreciated, and looking forward to it. Hopefully giving insight into what's ahead. And obviously I know Craig as well, who's coming on there, so hopefully we'll have a nice chat about the way we're going in the next few months.
Fantastic. I should also add, Rob stepped in at the last minute as well. So, yeah, very appreciative for Rob stepping in with quite short notice. And joining Rob, we've got Craig Stoddart, who is the Northern Echo's Darlington correspondent for probably longer than he cares to admit. I played Sunday League against Craig well over 20 years ago now. One of my teammates that day dubbed him Pedro Mendes, which I think was due to his looks rather than footballing ability. Don't worry, I'm going to be calling you Craig today. Great to have you on.
Hi, Adam. Yeah, you know what? I think I remember that.
I've never mentioned it to you. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, do you recall that? I think you took it in good spirits, I seem to remember.
Yeah, I've got a vague memory because I used to get the odd comment like that.
Yeah,
that was one of those names, Pedro Mendes. What else was there? I can't remember.
It was the other one.
They weren't all very complimentary, but yeah. So you were playing, did you say previously Goodfellas? I can't remember. I mean,
that was my club, yeah, Goodfellas. We used to play at Shield in Sunnydale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you were there with the ponytail. So that was the Pedro Mendes in our goalkeeper's eyes. I mean, there's worse things to be called, isn't there?
Well, I think that was when I was playing for Yates'. You know, we had Yates' on there. Yeah, I think it was that team at that point. Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting off topic already,
yes.
aren't we?
Yeah.
We are going to start with that Darlington victory yesterday. Finished Darlington 1, Kings Lynn Town 0. A big 3 points for the Quakers. That Callum Griffiths first half long-range effort enough to get us the points. Greg, I'll come to you first. Obviously, I wasn't there. You were, and what I gather, a well-deserved 3 points, and probably we should have had a few more goals.
Yeah, you've summed it up. We won 1-0, but it should have been 3 or 4. One of those games where we should have been comfortably ahead with half an hour to play, and we could have made a few substitutions with Tuesday in mind, rest a few legs, and everyone would have gone away happy. I mean, we've all gone away happy still, but it should have been a really comfortable win, comfortable scoreline against a full-time team who were higher than us in the table. So lots of reasons to be positive after yesterday. Just a little bit frustrating not to get those goals because we had the chances, just didn't have the finishing touch. If you've seen the goal, people listening to this, if they haven't seen it yet, it's a terrific strike from Callum Griffiths. I just wish there was a camera behind the goal. I'm not sure if there was on Saturday, which is typical because we often do. I don't know if there was Saturday. I didn't see
there wasn't one, Craig.
No, that's a shame. I'm sure there was like a bend. It was. I'm behind the shot. I'm in the seated stand, so I'm behind Callum Griffiths, and there's a bend on the shot. It's going wide and it comes in. One of them shots where for a second you're thinking, well, it's a goal kick, obviously, and then half a second later, hey, he scored. So it was a cracking goal. And great performance.
So over the top of Backray, who leapt for it, couldn't reach it. Then Cornish is coming together. Shot from Griffiths. It's in by a half volley from Callum Griffiths with the outside of his foot. Off the far post, across the goal line into the far corner. Great strike, Callum Griffiths.
Yeah, I mean, Callum Griffiths, he has got a bit of form for a long-range strike. I actually remember him one against Darlington. I think it was that playoff semi when he was at Spennymoor, which was about 40 yards out, and I think that hit the crossbar, didn't it? But well taken goal.
Yeah, he scored a cracker at Radcliffe as well.
This season, he did, Rob. Yeah. But the thing is, though, the keeper should have saved that, shouldn't he?
He should have done, probably. No, well, okay. If you don't shoot, you don't score.
That's true. But it was right in the middle of the goal, that one. Whereas yesterday's Saturday, it was just unsavable. It was incredible. half volley from the right back. Scott Thornbury on the PA who does the announces the teams. He laughed and when he announced the goal scorer, and he said something like, "You weren't expecting that, were you?" And it was absolutely true. It's not criticism of Callum. He's a right back, and right backs don't score those goals really. So no, brilliant. Well done, Darlo. Well done, Callum. Good day.
And Rob, I'd like to ask you about. I've been banging on this podcast the last few episodes about we need a new striker. Well, we've got one. Hasim Bakr has joined from Middlesbrough on loan till the end of the season. He got man of the match yesterday, Rob. Didn't score, but from what I gather, a good performance and showing some signs maybe of dovetailing well with Cedric Main.
Yeah, I was very impressed with him. He's got what every team needs, and opposition defenders don't like his pace. He's fast and he's direct, and he's got a good attitude with it. A bit of learning yesterday was from both Cedric and him were that sometimes they had a shot when they should have passed and then passed when they should have shot, but that's fractions of a second, and I'm never going to criticise really forwards having a shot if they put themselves in a position. But as a working partnership together, I think they look quite decent, and obviously it's a learning curve for him because he's only come out of the Middlesbrough the academy or whatever there, but he's certainly got potential, and because I think, is it correct, we have got him to the end of the season, then there's an opportunity now for him to work with Cedric alongside there and put pressure on them. Like I say, it's pace is everything, so the lads, he's impressed in his attitude and everything like that there. Interesting in the last game when he even stepped up and tried to take the penalty off Cedric, didn't he? Cedric wasn't having any of that, like.
No. I mean, Craig, we've had, many academy players join the club, usually from, Newcastle, Middlesbrough, Sunderland, whatever, and sort of their varying degrees of success, shall we say. But, what have been your impressions of Hasim? Because obviously, like Rob says, academy football, it's very different from the National League North.
Yeah, so first impressions have been positive, been good. He holds the ball up well. He's quite quick. I think he's brave. He's brave in that he likes to run at defenders with the ball. He won't just pass it on to a teammate. He's confident enough to retain the ball and take defenders on. As Rob says, he should have passed it once or twice yesterday. That's easy for us to say now. He's just a young kid, excited, and he wants to impress and wants to score. That's why I wouldn't have given him man of the match yesterday, because I would save that for a day when he scores once or twice.
I think I agree with you there, Craig. I mean, he did have a good game and everything, but there was probably a couple of people ahead of him there that maybe deserved it. But that's always the sponsors who pick that there, and they see what they see, don't they? There, so.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's not the end of the world. So it's a shame. I don't know if we're going to touch on Jack Maskell, but it's a shame we've come to this point where Maskell's lost his way, hasn't he? Jack Maskell backwards immediately in 2-3 appearances. Is for me, he starts now. He's in the starting 11. I wouldn't change that. For Tuesday, for argument's sake, at Scunthorpe. So Jack Maskell is now sat on the bench wondering where's it all gone wrong. He's clearly on the sidelines now.
Yeah, again, Jack's, in my opinion, is that he's come in and he's just a raw lad. He's just turned 20, and he started off the season where we wouldn't have started him. He had to start. He had to play. Cedric got injured. Nelson was injured. And he had to. And one thing is he's lacked, obviously, scoring the goals, but I would never question his attitude and his running and, his work rate, and that's not everything because he's a forward and he needs to score goals. But at the end of the day, it gives an option of a certain way of playing. If we have to lump the ball up or sometimes and get it forward, he's there to head it and chase it down. But we got him in to score goals, and that's been the problem this season. We just haven't scored quite enough goals. We've been great on the defensive side, but on the final finish there, like yesterday, it would have been nice to just get another couple of goals.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the defence there, Rob, and I do want to talk about them next. Yeah, another clean sheet. No Elliot Forbes in the squad yesterday. I don't know if either of you have any. I don't think the club have sort of released any details on his injury, unless you've been privy to something.
No, I haven't heard anything, but he came off last week at Southport. He came off, substituted then, so there's clearly has an issue. And in a week we've signed Charlie. Is it Charlie Sterling?
Sterling, yeah.
Sterling.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cover. So there's clearly a problem there. But that's a 15th clean sheet yesterday for the team. 15. What's the stat again? It's 15 in 31 league matches, which is the most we've kept at National League North level. In how many seasons we've been in this division now? 6, 7 seasons.
7 or 8, would it? Yeah.
The highest in the season before this was 11. So comfortably, we're on 15 now with how many games to go? 12, 13 games to go.
15, I think, is it? 15.
15. Yeah. So, yeah, Steve Watson's works his magic there. So, yeah, it says we haven't conceded many, but we haven't scored many. So, it's, we're I think in the top half of the division, we might be the lowest scorers, or certainly among the lowest scorers. Away from home, we scored 15. We played 15 and scored 15 away from home, and conceded 15. Bang average.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of an issue scoring, but defensively we're superb. Pete Jameson there, contender for player of the season.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think Pete Jameson. If we were voting right now, like if we're voting today, he would probably get my vote for player of the season. Yeah, superb goalkeeper, and dare I say, he could probably play a little bit higher than the National League North. I think we're quite fortunate to have him. You did mention there, Craig, about Charlie Sterling. I noticed he was amongst the substitutes. Did he get on at all yesterday, or?
No, he didn't come on yesterday. I don't know a lot about him. So, as I say, I think he's just there for cover, really, and hopefully Elliot Forbes will be back at some point. But there's no panic because the back four played yesterday. Barrow comes into the centre, Headley left back. Fine and do a job. It's not ideal Headley being left back, but he's played there plenty of times. He knows what to do. It's just a bit of an issue going forward, isn't it? When he goes to play, when he goes to move the ball on, clearly being right-footed, his options are limited. Everything goes down the line. It's not an issue. We can cope with that, innit? For a few games at a time. Barrow has to play in the centre.
I mean, just going back to what you're saying about Pete Jameson, I mean, he's given them so much confidence to have a goalkeeper like that behind the back four there. But going on, he'd be very pushed hard for me for voting him for man of the season, because my second choice, right close to him, would be Scott Barrow. That bloke has just been outstanding. But when you watch him play, he's got so much. Well, he just reads the game well, doesn't he? And, for his age, I'd love to get hopefully another season out of him there. But he's a cracking player. He's a cracking player, David.
Yeah, he's been a great Steve Watson signing. In fact, was he Steve Watson's first signing, I think?
I think he was.
He was. Yeah, I think he might be.
Yeah, he was superb last season, the back end of last season, when we stayed up. Yeah, he's been excellent this year. Going back to Pete Jameson, by the way, Rob, do you think he's better this time? He's better now than he was 5-6 years ago, isn't he? Do you think?
I think. Well, when we had him in the Northern League, you remember, or as going up there, he got a bit of backlash off fans, didn't he? But he was only a youngish lad then. I think he's matured, hasn't he? Because he's had that experience now of playing a higher level and everything there. So yeah, he's definitely better than we had before. He's just matured, hasn't he, into the goalkeeper that he is.
Yeah, he's had a couple of tricky seasons at Hartlepool on loan and
Harrogate as well.
And Harrogate, yeah. So as you say, I think he probably could play higher. So we'll have to see what happens in the summer. See if anyone comes calling. We'll have to see what happens there. Fingers crossed he stays at Darlo.
Absolutely. Gents, we might just park the conversation there for a moment. Coming up now is an interview I recorded with Jamie Lauder. Jamie is a performance analyst at the club, and he's given us a little bit of the behind the scenes on how he and the rest of the team support Stephen Terry. So that's coming up now. Myself, Rob and Craig will be back right after this. I'm delighted to have Jamie Lauder with me today. Jamie is the performance analyst at Darlington Football Club and also oversees some of the youth side there as well. Welcome, Jamie. How are you?
I'm really good. Adam, thanks for having me on. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Very good. So, performance analyst, maybe just give us a brief overview of what that role entails then, because there might be some people listening to this who aren't clued up into that area. So, yeah, just give us a brief overview of your role, Jamie.
Yeah, I think one of the big misconceptions really within performance analysis that people straight away want to link it to numbers and sort of data analysis side of things, whereas my role is more sort of looking at the opposition who we're playing. So I focus on set pieces and key players and sort of seeing where we can sort of exploit them in some areas where they're weak, where they're strong, and then sort of relay that information to Steve, Terry, and Alex, the lead analyst, and then the same thing on a match day. Me and Alex are watching live code the matches, which sort of means clipping up key events and logging down when there's shots, final third entries, crosses, all of that sort of stuff. So at half time or immediately after the game, we can go down to the players and management and sort of show them this is where they might be getting some joy, this is where we could exploit, and sort of help us pre-game and in-game towards forming a sort of really good game plan to hopefully try and win.
Yeah, okay, that's really interesting. I was going to ask you what a typical match day looks like for you, and like how much maybe Steve and Terry rely on yourself and Alex to maybe make tactical decisions, whether that's like at half time or during the match. Yeah, could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so for us, Terry staff is unbelievably attentive to detail. So there isn't that me and Alex will really put to Terry that Terry doesn't know himself because he watches so much football, and the same with the gaffer as well. It pays loads of attention to it. So for us on a match day, it'll be sort of as soon as we get the opposition team in, sort of reaffirming some of that and making sure we know who's marking who from set pieces and making sure that the right information is conveyed to the players. So before the teams are announcing straight away on a match day, we'll go in with a TV on wheels for home matches and sort of show the players a little presentation that myself and Alex have worked on to sort of give the lads an overview, an idea of what the other team will look like, what they sort of like to do and where we can exploit them. In match, it's sort of similar things. Steve and Terry will see most of it by themselves on a match day, but sometimes we might come in with having a camera and an aerial view and say, listen, that they're doing whatever loads, can we try and exploit them by doing this? Or some matches it'll be showing to the players a chance that they might have missed or something that they could have done better, and sort of putting either their mind at ease so they can go into the second half of a renewed confidence or anything like that, or sort of just helping them to understand little parts of the game.
I was saying to you before we started chatting that as a sort of long in the tooth football fan, when I was growing up watching football, this sort of technology didn't really exist. And even at National League North level now, I would imagine most clubs are sort of doing similar things, or maybe even at the level below. So it's really a growing area, would you say?
Definitely. There's a lot of teams now in our league, in the National League South, that do have performance analysis teams. We're really fortunate that we've got myself, Alex, Jay, a data analyst, and another guy, Michael, who's at Leeds Beckett, who's a separate key player analyst. So we've got a really full sort of structure, and obviously Terry as well, who dig deep into both our own performance and opposition performance. So, but it's at every team. Like I mentioned before, I was at Spennymoor last season doing sort of similar things, and it'll be very rare now that there's a match day where we're not joined on the gantry with the opposition analyst as well.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? So, what are some of maybe of the trends or insights you've noticed then from analysing other teams in the National League North? Is there anything that's maybe stood out to you?
I think it differs every match. You could come up against a Kidderminster side where it's, quite a... I'll take York, for example. When we're playing the FA Trophy, you play quite a complex sort of 3-2-5 build-up shape where, you've got to let the players be aware of their full-back rolling inside and how we're going to press to suit that. And you saw that in a way when Matty Cornish scored his goal there, as a result of a high press to sort of do with their shape. Or you could come up against, with all respect, a Leamington side who are brilliant at what they do. But very simply, big balls into Jack Edwards, look for flick-ons and look for good runs, especially when we play against them. So there's no sort of overview of trends where you can look at it and say, this is what every team seems to be doing. But there's different ways, obviously, from set pieces and all that we can look to exploit based on what other teams are doing.
How did you sort of get into this area then, Jamie? Was it something you've always been interested in, or what was your pathway?
No, it wasn't something I've been interested in. And to be honest, isn't probably something that I see myself doing it as a career long term. It was more sort of to aid my progression as a coach. So I've been coaching since I was 14 or so, and really wanted to learn as much about football as I could. So last season I saw a post go up about a potential role at Spennymoor, and went and had a chat with the manager and assistant there, and it seemed like something I'd really be able to get into, to equally support them with any sort of analytical decision making or anything like that, and help them sort of produce visualizations for players, but to also help myself, as a coach, watching Steve and Terry do 2 sessions a week and on a match day, it's you can't put in words how much learning you're getting on a match day, and it's great to be able to provide that sort of analysis support to level that out, really. But it's, long term, I want to go down the coaching route, and it's great.
Yeah. I mean, you're touching it there. Obviously, Darlington, we're only sort of training twice a week, I guess, if we don't have a match midweek. How does that affect things? Do the players maybe get little clips to watch before a game, or what can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So, like I said, I mean, all the players will have the match able to watch back as soon as it's finished, and it'll be divided into their own clips as well. So a player could go on, I know Scotty Barrow likes doing it, he'll go on and then just watch his clips throughout a game as well as the whole match, to sort of give him that sort of look back at it. So that the players are always watching that stuff, and throughout the week as well, they get 4 videos from us. Most of the players would look at 2 main ones, which is an overview sort of 7 or 8 minutes opposition analysis video, which is done by myself and Alex Jenkins, which looks really in depth into how the opposition play in possession, out possession, transition, set pieces. And they'll get a separate video as well, which myself and one of the other analysts, Mike, will do, which is on key players specifically. So we'll target 3 players for the opposition, and the lads can have a little look at that and see what their strengths, weaknesses are, and for the penalty takers, and for Pete as well, they've got goalkeepers, penalties for and against. So Pete knows. You look at a game against Buxton last week where Buxton got a pen. Pete dived the right way, and
he did. He nearly got there. Yeah.
And a big part of that is the good work that Alex does in finding the clips and saying, well, this player's taken 1 penalty and he's went that way. Let's make a judge guess on that. So the players always get the info, but these training standards are really high as ever.
I guess like a lot of people, and myself included, maybe don't quite realise the amount of preparation that go in, like essentially a part-time club. What sort of software are you maybe using for this then, Jamie? Is there a certain software that you might use for your analysis, or is there any sort of advances in technology that you're excited about at the moment?
Well, the club have invested in a product called Y Scout, which essentially, I mean, most clubs in world football are on an elite level, and it breaks down all of the opposition's games into patterns of play, goals scored, corners, free kicks, everything like that. So we can use Y Scout as a tool to watch the opposition mainly, and sort of look at the stats, XG, all of those sort of buzzwords, and make sort of opinions on the opposition based off of that. And then we can just put it together using something as easy as you could use like an iMovie, for example, to put the clips together, and it'll go into a big PowerPoint which the players will get. And we use a platform called Huddle, which all of the players are on, and it's essentially like a YouTube, for example, where it's just a library of videos, but specifically for us, the videos of our matches, the opposition stuff. If any player came to me and Alex and said, "Hi lads, could you flip up these events that I've done, forward passes, receiving on half them, whatever," we can do that, show the players it, have a little chat, and it's great for them. So we're lucky enough that the club invest so much time and resources into the analysis side of things that I think it does have a really positive impact on all the lads. Yeah,
fantastic. And the players that they're interested and they're sort of like to sort of see their stats, do they? And do they get really sort of involved in it? A bit of a competition maybe between some of them?
Yeah. So Luke, our physio, leads on the GPS vests on a match day. So all of the players will have how far they've run, how many sprints they've done, how fast they've run the game. So, on a Saturday night or Sunday morning, whenever that's posted, all the lads will be sort of going at it to see who's done what, and that sort of great for them. And I think
who tends to cover the most ground then? I mean, I would say, I don't know, like a Will Hatfield, a box-to-box midfielder, or is there?
Yeah, the midfielders, the Wills, Platty and Flinty are always great, but the one that all the lads would agree with is Jarrett Rivers. The amount of ground he covers on a match, it can be 13-40k for a match day, which is, the amount of ground Jarrett covers is unbelievable.
I've actually heard he's like one of the fittest players at the club, I think. I remember reading something somewhere. Shout out for Jarrett, well done. So I guess, Jamie, I was going to just finish off by, and you kind of touched on it earlier, your ambitions longer term. Obviously, you're at the best club in the world, Jamie. You know that. It doesn't get any better than that, does it? But so you'd want to look more at the coaching side as you sort of progress with your career?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm only young myself. I'm only 17, so for me, I'd love to go down a coaching and management route within the game. And, the great thing selfishly for me is that I've got so much time left to do it. So it's great that I can have these sort of forays in performance analysis and, like I say, learn from Steve, Terry, learn from Alex, learn from all the lads, and just sort of keep growing myself. It's sort of like a never-ending CPD experience, where you sort of always looking and trying to be a sponge and learn from everything. And like I say, I coach within the youth setup as well, so it's great to sort of work with the young players, young people on a day-to-day basis and learn all the time, pretty much.
Yeah, brilliant. So I should ask you about, I know you've obviously involved with the youth side. Do you look after a certain age group, or do you oversee? Yeah.
So at the moment I'm working with the under-14 boys team. So we've got some talented players in this group. I work, you're always looking about on a weekend or on weeknights to sort of keep up to date with the other age groups. So with us in the under-14s, we've got a lad that's training with the year group above, and I know that happens. We've had under-13 joining session with us, and there's especially at some of our older age groups now, there's some really talented players within the academy that probably don't get the exposure that they deserve. And that one of our teams, our under-16s team, have had, I think, 3 or 4 players in this season alone get scholarships within professional academies, having came through our system. So they're players that hopefully go on to have a career in the professional game, somewhere in Doncaster, Huddersfield, Carlisle. But if they don't, then maybe in 3 or 4 years' time, they could be playing with our first team.
Yeah, so that would be fantastic, wouldn't it, to have a few sort of homegrown youngsters in the side? I think, every fan would love to see that. Jamie, I know you've got to get on with your day. Thank you so much. It's really great to get this sort of behind the scenes sort of angle onto how things are going. I wish you all the best for the remainder of your time at Darlington and beyond. And thanks for joining us.
No worries.
Big thanks to Jamie there for taking the time to have a chat. Probably definitely the youngest guest we've had on the pod. Got a bright future, that young man, I think. So it's back to the old farts now. I include myself in that, fellas. So coming up, it's a trip to Scunthorpe on Tuesday, isn't it? Now, the last podcast, it was recorded just before the trip to Kidderminster, and I said I would basically devour your arm to get a point at Kidderminster. It turned out to be all 3. So, look, I'm gonna stay with the same tack there. I think a point away at Scunthorpe would be an excellent result. But the games are going to come thick and fast now, aren't they? So we've got Scunthorpe, Brackley, a small matter of a derby with Spennymoor before I think a trip to Hereford. It's definitely the business end of the season now, Craig. Firstly, what are your thoughts on that trip to Glanford Park?
Yeah. DME, obviously we all take a point right now, wouldn't we? Their form is really good. They haven't lost in God knows how many. Look, I think they've lost when they lose January. I'm looking at it here. They've lost. Yeah, no, Scunthorpe don't lose. That's the bottom line. In recent form, they just don't lose. So having won on Saturday against Kings Lynn, I'd be delighted with a point on Tuesday at Scunthorpe. Neither team concedes many. We drew 0-0, didn't we, a few months ago?
We did, yeah.
But we were the better team on that day. I mean, we just couldn't score a goal, but we were the better team by far. And we could have beaten them. And even I think their manager Brown there, he acknowledged that. Sorry, it wasn't Brown, was it? Who's the manager? Craig at.
I don't know.
Doesn't matter anyway. It doesn't matter anyway. But on the occasion there, it was a 0-0, but we actually, we played very well against them. And of course, they've had Mark Beck playing for him, who hardly got a touch. I don't think bringing him would have done as much good at the moment. Craig, would he have fitted into our team? I don't know. If we had the chance to bring him in,
if we had Mark Beck, yeah, he would play. I mean, him and Main will be outstanding, but I can't complain with how things are at the moment. The back row is doing okay. So, but I just wonder the chances of 0-0, the chances of another 0-0, because we've kept 15 clean sheets. I think Scunthorpe are on 19, and we have jinxed it now. And I've said that it might be a 3-3 draw, but we'll have. That's a very tricky one Tuesday. If we lose, we can't be too downbeat. The home game next Saturday at Brackley.
Well, I've just looked at the fixtures there, gentlemen. There we play in March. We play 9 games in March. 9 games.
Yeah.
It's a tough. We're getting through at the end of February. We've got obviously Scunthorpe, and then we start on the 1st of March at Brackley at home, finishing on the 29th of Warrington away. 9 games in the space of a month. That's going to be the tell, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I think Steve Watson has said that it's going to be an important time, and he's going to have to utilise all of his squad. During that period. I know he's brought in Sam Etherington as well from Carlisle, who we haven't mentioned yet. But yeah, obviously going to be a real test of the squad Saturday, Tuesday for the next 5 weeks, I think you said, Craig.
Yeah.
We're on 50 points from 31 games. Now we're 5 points off the playoffs, but we do have games in hands on everyone above us, I think, with the exception of Curzon. But yeah, it's all very well having the games in hand, but you've got to get them points on the board, haven't you?
Yeah, those matches being postponed in the last few weeks or so, that's kind of affected our momentum. It slowed things down a bit. But that, and obviously drawing a couple of games, and we lost. Did we lose one? I forget we lost against now, but we've lost Leamington away. Yeah. So momentum has stalled a little bit, but we're still, as you say, with the games in hand, we've got an opportunity to keep the season alive. Essentially, that's what it's about: keep the season alive, stay in contention for the playoffs as long as we can, and that's what it's all about now. And we can do that. So these home game against Brackley, I just hope we can get a result there, because Brackley we don't often do well against. I think we've had them 7 games, 7 times they've played at Blackwell. I think we've only beaten them once in that 7.
I think that was a Stephen Thompson goal, actually. I think I remember that game.
I think that was the first time we played them Blackwell, and then we've had 6 since then, and we've lost them or drawn with them. So we'll have to see, and then Spennymoor after that. So this is a tough spell, because the Spennymoor will come back in good form at the moment. I think they've won 4 in a row.
Good win at Kidderminster yesterday. I think a 3-1 win away at Kidderminster. So yeah, they might be looking at it and sort of fancying a bit of a sneaky playoff push themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are tricky games, but at the same time, and going back to what Rob said about Scunthorpe before, we've got nothing to fear really. We haven't played a single team where I've been particularly impressed and thought, Christ, they're going to win the league. Every time there isn't a single on form. All the teams we're playing, Scunthorpe, Brackley, and Spennymoor, they're all tricky matches. But from what we've seen with our own eyes, there's no one to be scared of. I'd back down. I'd be reasonably confident Darlo could get a result against any team. It's just on paper, Scunthorpe is a very tricky one.
Yeah, I mean, just going back to the sort of the teams we've got there. This league, I think this season has been shown to be the teams that are going up there, Kidderminster not so long ago were in the top, weren't they? Now they've dropped down to 8th or 9th or whatever there. And some teams like Chester were well behind, now the top, so teams putting runs together. There isn't, it's an easy cliche to say that there aren't any easy games, even the ones at the bottom, like when we played at Leamington, you're thinking we should be beating those teams. But, Farsley, in all their troubles yesterday, still only got beat, was it 1-0, Craig?
Yeah, 1-0. Apparently Chester didn't play very well either.
No, but, there they are. They're rock bottom and Chester are top, and they'll only beat them 1-0. So it goes to show that even teams like Farsley can put a result or, give you a hard game. But I'm confident, like Craig is there, of saying that we shouldn't be afraid of anybody. And now I think Steve's alluded to it just recently that we've got to win games. So we're not going out for points, really, to get a 0-0 or whatever. He doesn't really set up, I don't think, and I believe that he goes out, he knows that we've got to win, like we had to do last season. We had to win games. 3 points or no points last season, wasn't it, towards the end? That's how it was. We never got a draw, did we?
Yeah, I think it was the last game of the season.
We got all the draws, yeah. But, so, I'm not afraid of anybody with Craig there. I think we can, on the day we can beat anybody. So, and it's about time we did Scunthorpe. We've got some bad memories there, haven't we? So let's.
One, I think, was that the Paul Alcock when, how many was it sent off? Three Darlo sent off that?
Yes, I watched it the other day on YouTube. It was unbelievable. 7-1. The biggest cheer was when we scored that one goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Mark Ford and Barry Condon sent off before half-time, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Peter Beagrie, that's hard against any opposition, but Scunthorpe were a good team at the time, and Peter Beagrie was
Peter Beagrie destroyed us that day.
Yeah, I remember that game. Oh, and obviously, Rob's older than me, so Rob will remember. I was there in Division 4 when we could have won the title in
3-3 draw there.
Well, that's 96, isn't it?
That was 96. I was at that one. Yeah, I remember that Blake chance at the end. He put it over the bar, didn't he? Yeah, that would have had automatic promotion if we'd won that. Yeah.
And then was it 4-0? What was the score last season? Was it 4-0?
Oh, when we stuffed them last season, 4-0. Yeah.
No, I'm thinking away at their place. What was the score? We got beat down there, didn't we? Early on, it starts August.
Oh, yes, 4-0. Yes, that was And then we played them in the trophy as well. Remember, and we got beat 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0 in the trophy. That was Gowling, wasn't it? But yeah. Only time I'll mention that name, Craig.
Yeah, we'll move on, shall we?
Yeah, I think so. So, but I guess, with this sort of run of fixtures, the squad's in pretty rude health now. Cam Salkeld, well, I'm hearing it might be end of his season, but again, I don't think anything official has been confirmed. And fingers crossed on Elliot Forbes, who again, he's a bit of a dark horse for player of the season. I think he's put in some really good performances, hasn't he?
Yeah, yes. Elliot Forbes, he's been quietly very efficient at the back. He doesn't really get talked about, but as you say, I think it'll be Jameson and Hatfield and Barrow. They'll be contenders for player of the season. Elliot Forbes has been excellent. Go back to Salkeld. Yeah, I think I'd be surprised if he plays for Darlington again, really, because I think he's got an ankle problem, which has put him out for 7, 8, 9 weeks. And he wasn't really involved in Steve Wattson's first 11 anyway. He hasn't played many games this season. He's got on the bench more than he started. I think he started 7 or 8 games. So no, I think his days are numbered at Darlo, unless he somehow gets a contract in the summer, but we'll see.
He was a very important player in that run-in, the survival, the Great Escape last season. But I think he had a couple of injuries at the start of the season, and he's just never really got going, has he? But we'll have to see what happens.
He got voted Player of the Year last season, which was another vote which was incorrect. Clearly, Cedric Main was down the most important player. I've had this has bothered me for 7, 8 months now.
Yeah. Get it off your chest. Go on.
People voted for Cameron Salkeld on the basis that he scored a couple of goals in the first half of the season. The first half of last season was null and void. If the season had ended in December, no one would have got any awards because nobody deserved anything. For that first half of the season, it was abysmal, as we all know. So it was only the second half of the season counted. And in the second half of that season, Darlington's most important player was Cedric Main. Therefore, Cedric Main was Darlington's player of the season. And yet, Salkeld got voted Player of the Year, which was just nonsense.
Yeah.
And speaking of dodgy votes, Adam?
Which leads us on very nicely, Craig, to our next topic, which is Darlington have announced their home and away strips for the 25-26 season. The away shirt was just announced a couple of days. It was the teal hooped version, which I actually voted for that one. I think it was probably a clear winner. And the home shirt was a little bit more of a surprise. The quarters winning a close vote, I hear. I mean, Craig, it's you are in my eyes very much a Darlo kit aficionado. The new kit, it always, heats up a bit of a debate, doesn't it, online? But what were your thoughts on the home kit?
Yeah, it wasn't my choice. It wasn't my choice at all. I think I'm not against Darlington having quarters. By the way, if you look back, and obviously Darlington had quarters 100 years ago. We also had quarters in 95, 96. It was the youth team. The youth team. So that season when we were sponsored by Orange, the hoops and all that, that was the first team. The youth team that year had a quartered shirt, and it looks great. I've got one upstairs, black and white quarters, very simple. The problem with the vote for the quarters, the kit for next season, it's the huge white band around the chest. So it makes a mess of the design. So I'd like to have had a proper quartered shirt, not one which is split up into how many sections it is. And obviously you've got the odd sleeves as well, which contributes towards it. So it's a bit of a shame. We finally got quarters, but it's that version of quarters. It's a bit of a mess. Not to worry.
Do you have any strong opinions on this, Rob?
When you're in that police interview room and they say no comment. I personally wise on the choices there, I voted for it. I've had my two choices have got in there, so and I'm not involved with the shirt selections at all or whatever there, but I did choose the quarters and I did choose the teal shirt. So,
Adam, when you started this little conversation there, you said yourself you were surprised, and I think that was something up for me. I mean, another way. What on earth? What was my reaction? Never mind surprise. What's happened here? But anyway, it's happened. And the away, I've got no issue with the away shirt. It's a callback to 94, 95, not too dissimilar. The green and black hoops.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is not quite that green, but it's similar. So no, I'm happy with that one.
As I pointed out, I think there's very few clubs give their fans the opportunity to have a pick of something there, and in our case, as a fan-owned club, we've given that there. And you're never going to get it right. I know the guys who were involved, as Craig does as well, who's on the selection committee and what they talk to, and certain things that, when you go with a shirt design, what you can actually do with whoever you're with and things like that there. So I'm never too precious about it, really. I always end up buying one or the other, or even both. Well, this season I've got two because I got the like a lot of people bought the black one, the gold.
Yeah,
the gold one.
Me too. Yeah, I like that one. I like it a lot.
For me, that's the black
our
one.
best-selling shirt, I think.
Yeah,
I think
for me,
our best-selling shirt of all since we got going again.
That black one for me should be kept as the third shirt for next season because it's so good. The colour scheme, but I've been told it won't be, which is a shame.
Why is that?
I
imagine there'll be another third shirt which will make money. So that's that.
The other thing is, when you think about it, though, is that the home strip in black and white, that is black as well. So if there's any clash, sometimes it might be, it's still a clash, isn't it, with your black or whatever there. I'm not so sure. I mean, the other thing is, it's just that, on a away shirt there, sometimes we do wear our home shirts, don't we, on an away game?
Yeah. I mean, what Rob said about the vote, by the way, it's there are clubs who do vote, but I think there's quite a few, or there's some of them will only let fans vote for the home or just the away or just the third or whatever. Clearly, Darlington do home and away, so it's unusual and it's a great thing, and I hope this is how it is forever. It's a part and parcel of being a fan-owned club, and it's a way of fans remaining engaged and having a stake and. Yeah, it's how it should be.
Absolutely. Craig, if I had to put you on the spot, what, in your opinion, is the best and worst all-time Darlo kit? You can go home or away.
Oh, right, okay. The standard answer, really, the best home is 95-96. Home black and white hoops, sponsored by Orange. That's my favourite. Are you saying that? Ask me for a worst one.
A worst as well, yeah. Don't say next season's, but yeah.
No. What's mine? It's like that pink one we had about 10 years ago. You know, the 14 away shirt. Wasn't keen on that one.
Yeah.
We've probably had worse ones, to be fair.
The Soccer Down one for me, that monstrosity that they wore at Wembley, by a company that never existed, it'd have to be that one.
Yeah,
for
that was
me
awful.
anyway.
Particularly bearing in mind what it replaced. So suddenly,
I know.
Yeah, we had a great kit, and all of a sudden it got taken away. The Soccer Dome home was awful. The away one itself didn't look so bad. It was like made of really thick material, like canvas almost. It was ridiculous. Really cheap stuff. So they were the two 96, 97 shirts, soccer-based, home and away. They weren't great shirts then. So, yeah, that'll do for my answer, I think.
All right.
Well,
go on, Rob.
Home shirt, I'm going to show my age here because it's the iconic one with the three thin bands across. So in the 60s there, when I first started supporting them, that was the shirt that Lance Robson and people like that wore. And, that was... To me, that's the iconic shirt, the three thin stripes that go across, And that was the best shirt for me, but never got a chance to wear the damn thing because in them days they just didn't make kits for fans to buy, or not Darlington ones there. I think you could get them in Subbuteo, that was about it. Flicked a kick and I didn't know and all that, But
nice undertones reference there.
Yes, it is. Showing the age again. So that for me would be the iconic shirt, even though I never owned one, I don't think anybody ever owned one of them there. And for the worst one, I'm just trying to think back. Nothing really stands out. I think the ones we talked about there, the Soccer Dome ones there, which was, when you think about it, Soccer Dome, it never even happened, did it? It was just one of those things that was made up and was by somebody that was thought that was going to move all sorts. Who was in charge then? Was that Peden or Reg Brealey?
Reg Brealey and Peden, was it Craig? When was that?
Yeah.
I mean, going a bit further forward, remember that grey one we had, the grey away shirt in 2002-03? It was
with the with the Darlington Building Society on. Yeah,
see, that wasn't a bad shirt as such, but it was absolutely ludicrous that Darlington would have it because clearly our home shirt was white.
Yeah.
And we had a pale grey away one. How was that an alternative to the home? Clearly nonsense. So that was, I don't know if you remember, prior to that, we had a red and black away shirt. And that had to get brought back out of the cupboard when we played Bury away, because at Bury you couldn't wear Downton's white home or Downton's grey away, because Bury obviously wear white. So we had to get the last season's red shirt out of the cupboard, and that was used for a third season. And then in the middle of the season, this is 2002-03, we introduced a red third kit, an emergency red third kit, because George Reynolds had picked this ludicrous grey away shirt. So that wasn't a bad. It wasn't a bad design as such. It just wasn't fit for purpose. It wasn't an alternative to the white home kit.
Yeah.
798. Yeah, that's the white one. Well, the white home and the teal away. When it's the same sort of teal, which will be in next season's away shirt, green and black. That's the one Rob's referring to. It was brought back in the mid-90s there, 97, 98. Personally, I'm not particularly a fan of that one. I know Rob likes it.
I like the three. I like the three, just the three. But that's just an age thing. It's the first team I saw play, so that was what it was. So in them days there. So
but actually you're very old though, Rob, aren't you? So you remember the 60s.
I do remember. I was in every day of the 60s apart from 6 days.
Oh, there you go. Right. Well, we'll see how you're going to do on this quiz, Rob, because that's what's coming up next. We're gonna have a bit of quiz time now. I've changed it this time round because the last few episodes we've just been doing name the lineup. For today, we're going to do the Wikipedia footballer Darlington version. Okay, so I've got 5 former Darlo fans' favourites in front of me. Well, not literally, but I've got their Wikipedia page, and I'm going to list their senior clubs in chronological order. So when you think you know the player I'm describing, just maybe use your name as a buzzer. So say your name, give me your guess, and if you get it wrong, the other player we'll get the rest of the question, if that makes sense.
I just know Craig's going to win this hands down.
No, you see, this I'm worried about this. You see, this is where I get exposed. You see, I'll be exposed as a fraud. I'll get these all wrong.
Well, I think that'll be two of us then, won't it?
Well, hopefully one of you get it. But here's number one for you. So listen in. So, in chronological order: Sunderland, Scarborough, loan; Hartlepool United, loan; Darlington, loan; Darlington, Norwich City, Bradford City, Sheffield Wednesday; Barnsley, Bradford City, loan; Bradford City, Mansfield Town, Gateshead, loan; Gateshead, Harrogate Town. No more clubs.
It's been around a bit, whoever that was. Blimey, what he was. Did you say Down and then Norwich?
I did. That well-travelled path, Darlington to Norwich.
So is this 60s?
It's not.
I didn't think it was.
Hope you're playing along at home.
Who on earth went from Down to Norwich?
Darlington, Norwich, and then on to Bradford, and then Sheffield Wednesday. I'll give you a clue. Go on.
I was going to say, are we going to look stupid by not getting this?
He's currently managing in the EFL Championship.
Heckingbottom.
Paul Heckingbottom.
Yes,
correct.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, of course. You went to Norwich.
Right. Well,
Paul Heckingbottom, I believe, only one of two former Darlo players to have managed in the Premier League. Can you name the other?
Brian Little? No.
Oh, he didn't play for Darlington, did he, Brian Little?
No, sorry. Right. He played for Darlington and managed in the Premiership.
Yeah, so Paul Heckingbottom is one. I believe, and I haven't researched this, I believe the second is Brian Laws, who managed Burnley, I think, as a caretaker for a very short amount of time. So, yeah, Brian Laws. All right. Okay, hopefully the second one's going to be better, guys. So here's number two for you, so listen in. Darlington, Waterford United, loan.
We'll go for Barry Conlon.
Robbie Blake.
Rob's gone early with Barry Conlon. It's not Barry Conlon. Craig, you're saying?
Robbie Blake.
Robbie Blake is correct.
Oh, yeah.
Was it the Waterford reference? I think Rob thought Barry Conlon may be Irish, but yeah.
You say started Down, didn't you? And then Waterford.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. That must have been the Jim Platt connection. Jim Platt was around at the time, so I assume that was how he ended up at Waterford, I think.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of Darlo youngsters who went across to Waterford around that sort of mid-90s. Yeah, Robbie Blake was one of them. Went on to play for Bradford again, Nottingham Forest, Birmingham City, Leeds United. Until recently, was the manager of Bognor Regis.
He was probably Downton's best ever youth team player, really. I mean, I know there's been one or two other contenders, but he was outstanding. Natural ability.
Yeah, he's one of the best I've seen. Yeah, definitely. Blake, he'd be right up there, wouldn't he? Low centre of gravity, wasn't he? Just real sort of tricky, clever player.
Have you got any more?
Right. I've got more here, guys. I've got some more. Here's number 3, Chester City, Maidstone United, Burnley, Darlington, Rochdale. Yes, Craig got in there. Yeah, you're right. That's all right. For the purpose of the tape, that was Craig Stoddart saying Robbie Painter. Yeah. Went on to play for Halifax, Gateshead, did a bit in non-league as well. I believe he works for the NHS now, I think.
Yeah, he's a great bloke. I've spoken to Robbie a few times for different like interviews and things over the years. It's funny because growing up, Robbie Painter was obviously a striker when I was a young lad. And I used to think of Robbie, because he was a striker, and I don't know, the fact he was called Robbie and he had sideburns, I thought of him as being a bit of a maverick, a bit of a lad, like one of the boys kind of thing, a bit of a wide. And then 20 years later, you speak to him, and he's very level-headed, sensible. Right. And I think he's a physiotherapist.
Yeah.
And he wasn't the person I thought he'd be. I've almost let down by it.
Never meet your heroes, eh?
Yeah. No, he's a great fella. He's just not the personality I thought he would have, though. That's
Right.
all.
He was my favourite Robbie Painter memory, probably like everyone else, was Leeds, Rob, rounding Nigel Martin, and then I think we were in that orange Soccer Town kit that night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's up there for worst kits, by the way. But obviously round Nigel Martin, put it in, ran up to the fans. I remember he kissed the badge, and I think a few weeks later he was off. I think he was on a week-to-week contract or something. But
he went to Rochdale, didn't he?
He did, yeah, and did quite well there as well. Yeah, another really, really good player.
All right.
Number 4. Now, this one, I'm going to apologise in advance for some of the pronunciations. So I don't know how we're going to go with this one, boys, but let's have a go. Here we go. Stal Akshavesk. Metal Donetsk.
I'll go for Franz Bergermeyer.
Oh, Franz Bergmeyer. It's not. That's a good guess. So I could see why you'd be going for him.
I have to get in early. I had to get in early. To get it.
Craig, you've got the rest of this, Craig. I'll carry on. So Germinal Beerschot, Apollo Limassol, PAEEK Loan, Evisa Ibiza, Darlington.
Oh, More Diop.
More Diop. Oh. Yes.
Right. Okay.
Remember him?
Yeah, it was the Ibiza one that got it for us. God, aye. He was he did okay for a brief spell, didn't he? What, 2009 sort of time?
Yeah, that was it. 2009. I think a Steve Staunton signing. I only included him just for the Ibiza to Darlington career path.
Yeah. I wonder what the story was there. His agent must have gotten sent out a circular to clubs in League Two and said, any chance of giving that a go. But when you started naming those teams, I thought this is going to be a David Hodgson signing. This is obviously
it does reek of a Hodgie signing, doesn't it?
Yeah, those names. I annoyed myself not getting Heckingbottom earlier, by the way. I'm annoyed about that. Down to Norwich.
Yeah, there's not too many who have made that move, is it? I was just with more Diop. I was just clicking on some of those clubs, on Wikipedia, and I think pretty much all of them have gone bust,
really?
Including Darlington, you might say, listener. But most of them clubs have now gone under. So yeah,
just the way you didn't put Jefferson Louis in your quiz. Do you remember him, Jefferson Louis?
Yes. The man had more clubs than Jack Nicklaus. It's not the next question, is he?
Well.
Oh, it's not. Hey, conspiracy theory here, Craig. You've already had a conversation.
I'm holding it up to the screen. It's about 3 pages, Craig. If you can see that, fellas. Yeah, that was the next. That was the final one.
Hey,
Craig's got out. It's up at that.
Craig, he's the champion, isn't he? I've got no chance here.
Well, we haven't got all day. I mean, God almighty, that'll take us till God knows when to read them all out.
I was hoping, you'd get in quite early with Jefferson Louis, because if someone didn't, you could have gone off, made a cup of tea, come back, and I'd still be listing his club. He changed clubs 51 times over a 28-year career. I believe he's still playing. He's older than me. He's 45. But according to Wikipedia, is still going back at Tame United. So, had a 6-game stint at Darlington. Again, I think might have been the Steve Staunton era, not 100%.
Mark Cooper, and when he signed for Darlington,
Mark Cooper, right?
Yeah, and when he signed for Darlington, at that point, it was seen as a hell of a thingy, because Darlington was like 10th or 11th club. And Christ, this bloke's had 11 clubs.
Yeah,
10, 15 years later, he's had another 30 or something. It's bonkers how many clubs he's played for.
Yeah, incredible, isn't it? You just wonder why he doesn't stick around at every club. I mean,
well, maybe the reason is he's not very good.
Possibly.
Nobody's sussed him out
yet. He's good enough for someone to take a chance on, though, isn't it? So, yeah.
When you get a long list of clubs you've been at, somebody might look at it and say, "Oh, he's been here, he's been there. He must be all right because he's playing there." And you would have read the list out there, Adam. But to me, I mean, would never stand in my mind as being in my top 1,000 players.
Yes. So that brings us to the end of the pod. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you. look, I was going to say this podcast is going out on Apple, Spotify. We're still on Twitter, X, and now got a Facebook page as well. If you're keen to get on to the pod, just get in touch. We're always looking for a guest. You just got to be a Darlo fan and sort of semi-coherent. I guess they're the two main things. If you want to come on and be a guest, it'd be great to get more fans on. So I guess all that's left for me to do is to say thank you, Craig.
No problem. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you, Rob.
No problem. I've enjoyed it. If you want us on again sometime, then I'm quite willing to come on and give it a go when you're in short notice or not.
Yeah, super sub off the bench today, Rob. So yeah, thanks for doing that at very short notice.
Yeah,
so
a bit like my football career.
And thank you, listener, for your support and for downloading this episode. Hopefully, we'll be back next month sometime, and hopefully, we're still in that playoff mix. So, big thank you to listening. Thank you.